South Korea. The fandom world exploded once again tonight after what was supposed to be a simple BTS live interview suddenly turned into one of the most talked about moments online. It wasn't because of a comeback announcement. It wasn't because of a shocking spoiler. And it wasn't even because of a new project reveal. No, this time all eyes were pulled towards something far more dangerous for fans' hearts. Taehyung and Jungkook. Or as millions of fans around the world know them, TAEKOOK. Yes, once again, these two managed to steal the spotlight without even trying, and fans are now convinced that one short live interview gave them more emotional damage than an entire drama series. At first, everything looked normal. The members of BTS appeared in a warm, relaxed setting, laughing naturally and answering questions in a comfortable atmosphere. The host guided the conversation smoothly, asking about recent schedules, upcoming plans, funny behind-the-scenes stories, and their feelings about being together again. Everything was calm. Everything was polished. Everything was professional. Until the cameras caught the little moments. And as every fan already knows, with TAEKOOK, the little moments are always the most dangerous ones. A glance, a smile, a whisper, a quiet reaction, a soft expression that lasted only 2 seconds. And somehow, those few seconds were enough to make the entire internet collapse. Chapter 1, a normal interview. That turned into a full fan investigation. No one was fully prepared for what happened tonight. Fans had been waiting for this interview all day. Social media was already buzzing even before the live began. Many thought the members might reveal a teaser, hint at future plans, or maybe give fans a few exciting spoilers. But instead of a dramatic announcement, the biggest story of the night became the chemistry between Taehyung and Jungkook. As soon as the live started, the atmosphere felt easy and natural. The members were dressed beautifully, each with their own style and charm. Taehyung carried his usual calm, elegant, almost cinematic aura. Jungkook looked soft yet intense, relaxed but magnetic. The kind of presence that naturally draws attention even in a room full of stars. They weren't sitting impossibly close. They weren't doing anything loud. They weren't trying to perform anything. And maybe that's exactly why it felt so intense. Because even from a distance, the cameras seemed to capture one thing over and over again. Their attention kept returning to each other. It happened so subtly at first that some fans almost missed it. The host asked Jungkook how he had been feeling lately and whether there was anything he was especially excited about these days. Jungkook answered calmly, smiling politely as expected. But then the camera shifted to a side angle, and suddenly fans saw it. Taehyung was looking at Jungkook in a way that felt way too soft to ignore. Not just watching, not just listening, but really looking at him. Like he was fully tuned in. Like he cared about every word. Like for those few seconds, Jungkook was the only thing in his line of focus. The live comment section immediately started going wild. Why is Taehyung looking at him like that? No nitrogen monoxide, I am not strong enough for this. That look was illegal. Someone save MA right now. And just like that, the first dangerous moment of the night had officially begun. Chapter 2. Jungkook's smile made everything even worse. If it had only been Taehyung's gaze, maybe some people could still brush it off and say, "Oh, that's normal." They're close. But then came the second moment. And this one made everything so much harder to explain. The host asked a playful question. Which member is the hardest to stay serious with during practice? The whole group laughed immediately. Everyone started reacting, pointing at each other, joking around, and throwing little comments across the set. Then the camera landed on Jungkook. He looked like he was about to answer. But before speaking, he glanced sideways, toward Taehyung, and what fans saw next sent them straight into emotional chaos. Taehyung was already smiling. Not a loud laugh, not a dramatic reaction, just a small, quiet, knowing smile. The kind of smile that looks like it's carrying a private joke. The kind of smile that feels strangely personal even from across a room. Jungkook saw it, and then he smiled too. And that was the problem. Because it wasn't just a polite on-camera smile. It looked like the kind of smile that appears because one specific person looked at you first. That tiny exchange lasted maybe 1 or 2 seconds. But to fans, it felt like an entire scene. Immediately, posts started appearing everywhere saying the same thing. They have conversations without speaking. And honestly, after watching the clip over and over, a lot of fans felt the same. Because the energy between them in that moment didn't feel random. It didn't feel staged. It didn't feel like fan service. It felt like familiarity. The kind of familiarity that doesn't need words. And that's exactly what made the entire thing feel so dangerous. Chapter 3. The whisper moment that made the entire timeline stop breathing. If the interview had ended there, maybe the fandom would have survived. But then came the moment. The one fans are already calling the whisper moment. And this is where everything truly fell apart. It happened in the middle of the interview while another member was answering a longer question from the host. The camera was in a wide group shot. At first glance, everything looked completely normal. But fans are never just watching, they are always observing. And somewhere on the side of the frame, they noticed something. Taeyoung slightly leaned toward Jungkook. Jungkook turned his head just a little. Then Taeyoung appeared to say something very quietly, something soft enough that the microphone didn't catch it clearly. A whisper. A tiny one. Barely visible. But Jungkook's reaction? That's what destroyed the internet. Because the second Taeyoung whispered to him, Jungkook looked down and laughed. Not a huge laugh. Not a loud reaction. Just that shy, slightly flustered little laugh that fans know all too well. And instantly the questions began. What did Taeyoung say? Why did Jungkook react like that? Why did it feel so personal? Why did Taeyoung look so satisfied afterward? No subtitles. No explanation. No official answer. And because there was no explanation, the fandom turned into detectives. Clips were cut. Angles were zoomed in. Frames were slowed down. Lip-reading attempts began. Threads with arrows and circles started spreading. One fan wrote, I don't know what Taeyoung said, but I know Jungkook does not react like that to everyone. And honestly, that one sentence perfectly captured the mood of the entire night. Because whether people wanted to admit it or not, that whisper did not feel ordinary. It felt like one of those tiny moments that says more than a full conversation ever could. Chapter 4. Jungkook kept checking Taeyoung's reactions without realizing it. Another detail that made fans absolutely lose their minds tonight was this. Jungkook seemed to keep checking Taeyoung's reactions throughout the interview. At first, it was subtle, almost easy to miss. But once fans started replaying clips and lining up different moments, a pattern started to appear. Every time Jungkook answered something, he would often glance in Taeyoung's direction. Every time he laughed, there was a chance his eyes would flick over there. Every time the conversation shifted, there was this strange, quiet habit of checking if Taeyoung was reacting too. And once fans noticed it, they couldn't unsee it. When the host complimented Jungkook, he smiled, then glanced at Taeyoung. When the members teased him, he laughed, then glanced at Taeyoung. When there was a question about group chemistry, he answered, and yes, once again, glanced at Taeyoung. That's when many fans started saying the same thing. Jungkook always seems most at ease when Taeyoung is near. Of course, no one can say exactly what he was thinking. No one can truly know what was happening inside his mind. But body language can be very revealing. And tonight, fans felt like they were seeing something deeply familiar, that quiet comfort of someone, unconsciously looking for one specific person in the room. One fan dramatically posted, he's not just answering the interview, he's checking if one person approves. Was that dramatic? Yes. Was it relatable? Also yes. And that's why the moment hit so hard, because it didn't look like performance. It looked like instinct. Taeyoung's silent reactions were almost more dangerous than words. If there is one thing fans have learned over the years, it's this.